In the last class, we discussed the derivatives of hyperbolic functions. Derivatives of hyperbolic functions means derivative of sin hx, cos hx, tan hx and cot hx. See, what is derivative of sin hx? Derivative of sin hx is equal to cos hx. What about derivative of cos hx? Derivative of cos hx is equal to sin hx. What is derivative of cos x? Trigonometric function cos x. Derivative of cos x is equal to minus sin x. Derivative of sin x is equal to cos x. But in the case of hyperbolic functions, we have derivative of sin hx is equal to cos hx and derivative of cos hx is equal to sin hx. And again, derivative of tan hx is equal to secant square hx. Derivative of tan hx is equal to secant h square x. Derivative of cot hx is equal to minus cosecant h square x. Today we discuss the derivatives of secant hx and cosecant hx. Okay? Derivative of sin hx, cos hx. Derivative of cos hx, sin hx. Cos hx plus sin hx. Tan hx derivative secant h square x. Cot hx derivative minus cosecant h square x. Next we consider derivative of secant hx. What is secant hx? Secant hx is equal to 2 divided by 1 divided by cos hx, that is 2 divided by e raised to x plus e raised to minus x. Okay, that is derivative of, next we discuss derivative of secant hx. Derivative of secant hx is equal to d divided by dx of secant hx. Secant hx means 1 divided by cos hx. Okay, this is in the form of a quotient. Then to find the derivative, we apply quotient rule. Quotient rule is denominator into derivative of numerator minus numerator into derivative of denominator divided by denominator square. That is denominator cos hx into derivative of numerator. Here numerator is equal to 1. dl divided by dx of 1 minus numerator 1 into derivative of denominator cos hx all divided by denominator square. Denominator cos hx whole square. What is derivative of 1? Derivative of a constant is equal to 0. Then derivative of 1 is equal to 0. Then 0 into cos hx, that is 0. Minus derivative of cos hx. Derivative of cos hx is plus sin hx. E minus sin hx divided by cos h square x. Second, minus sin hx divided by cos h square x. Okay. That is derivative of secant hx is equal to minus sin hx, then not sin hx divided by sin hx divided by cos h square x. Then sin hx divided by cos hx into 1 by cos hx. Cos h square x again. Denominator cos h square x means cos hx into cos hx. One cos hx sin hx minus sin hx divided by cos hx into 1 by cos hx. Multiply the numerator minus sin hx, cos hx into cos h square x. That is what is 1 by cos hx? 1 by cos hx is equal to secant hx. Then what is sin hx by cos hx? Sin hx by cos hx is equal to tan hx. That is derivative of secant hx is equal to minus secant hx into tan hx. What is derivative of secant x? Derivative of secant x is equal to secant x into tan x. But the derivative of secant hx, hyperbolic function derivative, secant hx is equal to minus sec hx into tan hx. Okay? Similarly, we consider derivative of cosecant hx. Derivative of similarly d divided by dx of cosecant hx. Derivative of cosecant hx. That is d divided by dx of what is cosecant hx? 1 divided by sin hx. What is derivative of secant hx? 1 divided by cos hx. Secant hx is equal to 1 by cos hx. Then cosecant hx means 1 divided by sin hx. Apply quotient rule. Denominator sin hx into derivative of numerator 1 minus 1 into numerator into d divided by dx of denominator. Denominator means sin hx divided by sin hx whole square. Okay, that is sin hx into derivative of 1. That is sin hx into derivative of 1 0 minus derivative of sin hx. What is derivative of sin hx? Cos hx. minus cos hx divided by sin h square x. ഇത് 0. ഇത് നേരത്തെ പോലെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യാം? ഒരു cos sin h square x നെ sin hx into sin hx. That is equal to minus 1 by sin hx. 1 by sin hx into cos hx by sin hx. Minus ഇവിടെ multiply ചെയ്താൽ എന്ത് കിട്ടും? 1 into cos hx minus cos hx by sin hx whole square by. That is equal to 1 divided by sin hx into cos hx by sin hx. What is 1 by sin hx? 1 by sin hx is equal to minus cosecant hx. Sorry, 1 minus this minus cosecant hx into cos by sin. Cos hx by sin hx into cot hx. Here sin hx by cos hx is equal to tan hx. Or derivative of cosec hx is equal to minus cosec hx into cot hx. Derivative of sec hx is equal to minus sec hx into tan hx. Derivative of cosec hx is equal to minus cosec hx into cot hx. Derivative of sin hx is equal to cos hx. Derivative of cos hx is equal to sin hx. Derivative of tan hx is equal to secant h square x. Derivative of cot hx is equal to minus cosecant h square x. Derivative of secant hx is equal to minus sec hx into tan hx. Derivative of cosecant hx is equal to minus cosec hx into cot hx. Second, ആ റിസൾട്ട്സ് എല്ലാം എന്ത് ചെയ്യുക? നിങ്ങൾ ഒന്നൊരു ടേബിൾ പോലെ കൺസ്ട്രക്ട് ചെയ്യുക. ഏതാ? ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് ഡി ഡിവൈഡ് ബൈ ഡി എക്സ് ഓഫ് സൈൻ എച്ച് എക്സ് ഈസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു കോസ് എച്ച് എക്സ്. ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് കോസ് എച്ച് എക്സ് ഈസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു സൈൻ എച്ച് എക്സ്. ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് ടാൻ എച്ച് എക്സ് ഈസ് ഈക്വൽ ടു സീക്കൻഡ് എച്ച് സ്ക്വയർ എക്സ്. Derivative of cot hx is equal to minus cosecant h square x. Derivative of sec hx is equal to minus sec hx tan hx. Derivative of cosecant hx is equal to minus cosec hx into cot hx. But in the case of trigonometric functions, what is derivative of sin x? Derivative of sin x is equal to cos x. Derivative of cos x is equal to minus sin x. Derivative of tan x is equal to sec square x. Derivative of sec x is equal to secant x into tan x. Derivative of cot hx is equal to minus cosecant square x. Derivative of cosecant x is equal to minus cosecant x into cot x. അത് ഹൈപ്പർബോളിക് ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ആകുമ്പോൾ ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് സൈൻ എച്ച് എക്സ് ഈക്വൽ ടു കോസ് എച്ച് എക്സ്. ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് കോസ് എച്ച് എക്സ് ഈക്വൽ ടു സൈൻ എച്ച് എക്സ്. രണ്ടും പ്ലസ് ഉണ്ട്. ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് ടാൻ എച്ച് എക്സ് സീക്കൻഡ് എച്ച് സ്ക്വയർ എക്സ്. ആ മൂന്നെണ്ണം പോസിറ്റീവ്, അടുത്ത മൂന്നെണ്ണം നെഗറ്റീവ്. ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് കോട്ട് എച്ച് എക്സ് മൈനസ് കൊസീക്കൻഡ് എച്ച് സ്ക്വയർ എക്സ്. ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് സീക്ക് എച്ച് എക്സ് മൈനസ് സീക്ക് എച്ച് എക്സ് ഇൻറ്റു ടാൻ എച്ച് എക്സ്. ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് കൊസീക്കൻഡ് എച്ച് എക്സ് മൈനസ് കൊസീക്ക് എച്ച് എക്സ് ഇൻറ്റു കോട്ട് എച്ച് എക്സ്. ഓക്കെ, എന്നാൽ ഇത് ടേബിൾ എന്ന് എഴുതുക. എന്നിട്ട് എന്ത് ചെയ്യണം? ഒരു ടേബിൾ പോലെ തന്നെ ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് ഡി ഡിവൈഡ് ബൈ ഡി എക്സ് ഓഫ് സൈൻ എച്ച് എക്സ് കോസ് എച്ച് എക്സ് ടാൻ എച്ച് എക്സ് കോട്ട് എച്ച് എക്സ് കൊസീക്കൻഡ് എച്ച് എക്സും സീക്കൻഡ് എച്ച് എക്സും ഒരു ടേബിൾ പോലെ വരയ്ക്കുകയും ചെയ്യുക. എന്നാൽ ഇതുകൂടെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ബാക്കിയോട് സേവ് ചെയ്യുക. സേവ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് നോട്ടേക്ക് പോകുക. Next we consider inverse hyperbolic functions. We have already seen the inverse trigonometric functions. That is how the inverse trigonometric function is defined. If y is equal to sin x, then we define x is equal to sin inverse of y. Sin 45 is equal to 1 by root 2. There 1 by root 2 നൽകുന്ന sin corresponding angle. അതാണ് sin inverse 1 by root 2 is equal to 45. Sin 90 is equal to 1. Therefore, sin inverse 1 is equal to pi by 2 angle ആണ്. Sin 0 is equal to 0. Therefore, sin inverse 0 is equal to 0 degree. That is, if y is equal to sin x, then x is equal to sin inverse y. In the same way, we define inverse hyperbolic functions. Inverse hyperbolic function is defined by inverse hyperbolic functions and their derivatives. How inverse hyperbolic functions are defined? Let y is equal to sin x. Y a function of x, hyperbolic function x. Y is equal to sin hx. Then we define the inverse hyperbolic function. എന്താണ്? sin h അപ്പുറത്തെ കൂട്ടുകാരുടെ അർത്ഥത്തിൽ പറയും x is equal to sin h inverse y. Okay? If y is equal to sin hx, then x is equal to sin h inverse y. Or conversely, if x is equal to sin h inverse y, that means y is equal to sine of hx. Okay. Similarly, if y is equal to cos hx, then we define x is equal to cos h inverse y. Or if x is equal to cos h inverse y, then x cos h inverse y, then y is equal to cos hx. Y is equal to cos hx, then x is equal to cos h inverse y. Okay? So y is equal to cos hx. The cos h equal to x is equal to cos h inverse y. 1 divided by cos h inverse y. Next, we consider the derivatives of hyperbolic functions, inverse hyperbolic functions. What is the derivative of sin h inverse x, cos h inverse x, etc. Then to find the derivative of sin h inverse x, let y is equal to sin h inverse x. Y is equal to sin h inverse x. If y is equal to sin h inverse x, then what is x? Sin h inverse x is equal to sin h y. X is equal to sin h inverse y, and that is y is equal to if y is equal to sin hx, or y is equal to sin hx, y is equal to sin hx, then x is equal to sin h inverse y. Or if x is equal to sin h inverse y, then y is equal to sin hx. y is equal to sin h inverse x, which means x is equal to sin h y. We know the derivatives of hyperbolic functions derivative area. X equal to sin h y, differentiate with respect to y. That is dx divided by dy. What is dx by dy? Derivative of sin h y. Derivative of sin h y is equal to cos h y. Y is dy divided by dy. Dy divided by dy is equal to 1. Then x is equal to sin h y. Dx by dy is equal to cos h y. Then what is dy by dx? y is equal to sin h inverse x derivative ആണ് dy by dx ആണ് കിട്ടുന്നത്. ഹൈപ്പർബോളിക്കിലേക്ക് മാറ്റി, ഇൻവേഴ്സിനെ ഹൈപ്പർബോളിക്കിലേക്ക് മാറ്റി ഹൈപ്പർബോളിക്കിന് ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് കൊടുത്തു. Then dy by dx is equal to 1 divided by dx by dy. ഈ പിന്നെ കൊണ്ട് ആയിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ തലവെച്ചിട്ട് വിളിക്കും. ഇതങ്ങനെ വരും dy by dx എന്നാവും. dy by dx is equal to 1 divided by dx by dy. That is equal to 1 divided by what is dx by dy? Cos h y. That is 1 divided by cos h y. Okay? We know cos h square x minus sin h square x ന്റെ വാല്യൂ എന്താണെന്ന് അറിയാം, 1 എന്നറിയാം. Cos h square x minus sin h square x is equal to 1. In the case of trigonometric functions, we have cos square theta plus sin square theta is equal to 1. Here, cos h square x minus sin h square x is equal to 1. And what is cos h square x? 1 plus sin h square x. That is what is cos hx, root of 1 plus sin h square x. Then cos hy is equal to dy by dx is equal to cos hy is equal to 1 divided by root of 1 plus sin h square. Cos hy is equal to root of 1 plus sin h square. Okay? That is dy by dx is equal to 1 divided by root of 1 plus what is sin hy? Sin hy is equal to x. Therefore sin h square y is equal to x square. Or derivative of sin h inverse x is equal to what is derivative of sin h inverse x? Derivative of sin h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by root of 1 plus x square. 1 divided by root of 1 plus x square. Derivative of sin h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by root of 1 plus x square. Okay? dy by dx is equal to 1 divided by dx by dy. What is dx by dy? Cos hy, that is 1 divided by cos hy. Cos hy divided. Cos hx is equal to root of 1 plus sin h square x. And cos hy is equal to 1 divided by the root of 1 plus sin h square y. Sin hy is equal to x. 1 divided by root of 1 plus x square. Or derivative of sin h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by root of 1 plus x square. Similarly, next we consider the derivative of cos h inverse x. And similarly, y is equal to cos h inverse x. dy by dx, that is derivative of cos h inverse x. Now y is equal to cos h inverse x implies x is equal to what is x? Cos h inverse equal to cos h. x is equal to cos h inverse y, what is y is equal to cos hx, or y is equal to cos hx, then x is equal to cos h inverse y. But y is equal to cos h inverse x, that is x is equal to cos h y. What is dx by dy? Derivative of x with respect to y, dx by dy is equal, that is dx by dy is equal to derivative of cos h y sin h y. Negative ഒന്നുമില്ല. Derivative of sin h y ഇവിടെ cos h y, ഇവിടെ dx by dy is equal to derivative of cos h y sin h y. That is dy by dx. അല്ലേ, y equal to cos h inverse x derivative ആണ്. എന്നാൽ dy by dx ആണ് വേണ്ടത്. dy by dx is equal to 1 divided by dx by dy. 1 divided by dx by dy. ആണോ? അതനുസരിച്ച് ഗുണിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഈ പിന്നെ കൂടെ dy by dx എന്നായി. Or 1 divided by dx by dy. What is dx by dy? Sin h y. 1 divided by sin h y. Then what is sin h y? Sin h square x upper boundary. Then sin h square x is equal to cos h square x minus 1. Therefore sin hx is equal to root of cos h square x minus 1. Sin h y is equal to the root of cos h square y minus 1. Sin h y is equal to root of cos h square x minus 1. Cos h square x y minus 1. Cos sin h y root of cos h square y minus 1. That is 1 divided by root of x square minus 1. Or derivative of cos h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by root of x square minus 1. Derivative of sin h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by root of 1 plus x square. So again, inverse hyperbolic function and the derivative. Derivative of sin h. So if sin hx is y is equal to sin hx, then x is equal to sin h inverse y. Or if y is equal to sin h inverse x, y is equal to sin h inverse x, then x is equal to sin h y. Derivative of sin h inverse x, y is equal to sin h inverse x, then dy by dx is equal to 1 divided by root of 1 plus x square. Derivative of cos h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by root of x square minus 1. Okay? This is save it. Okay. We have seen the values of derivatives of sin h inverse x and the derivative of cos h inverse x. Next we consider derivative of tan h inverse x and cot h inverse x. Okay? To find the derivative of tan h inverse x, let y is equal to tan h inverse x. In the inverse ഹൈപ്പർബോളിക്കിലേക്ക് ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യുക, ഹൈപ്പർബോളിക്കിൻ്റെ ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുക, എന്നിട്ട് വീണ്ടും തിരിച്ചതിലേക്ക് മാറ്റുക, ഇൻവേഴ്സിലേക്ക് മാറ്റുക. അതാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അതായത് y is equal to tan h inverse x, that is x is equal to tan h of y. ഇൻവേഴ്സ് ആണ് അതിലേക്ക് മാറ്റി ഹൈപ്പർബോളിക്കിലേക്ക് മാറ്റുക. x is equal to tan h. Then on differentiation, what is dx by dy? Dx by dy on differentiation, dx by dy is equal to derivative of tan h y. Derivative of tan h x is equal to secant h square x. Derivative of tan h y is equal to secant h square y. Okay? Then dy by dx. Dy by dx is equal to 1 divided by dx by dy. 1 divided by dx by dy. That is 1 divided by dx by dy means secant h square. You see, we know this result. Cos h square x minus sin h square is equal to 1 എന്നറിയാം. Cos h square x minus sin h square x is equal to 1. Divide both sides by cos h square x. ഓരോ ഡേയിലെ cos h square x കൊണ്ട് ഡിവൈഡ് ചെയ്യുക. അതായത് divide both sides by cos h square x. എന്നാൽ cos h square x divided by cos h square x അത് 1 minus sin h square x divided by cos h square x. അല്ലേ, ഇതിനെ cos h square ഇതിനെ divide both sides by cos h square x. Cos h square x divided by cos h square x is 1. Sin h square x divided by cos h square x. Sin h x by cos h x divided by tan h x. Then sin h square x divided by cos h square x is equal to tan h square x. 1 minus tan h square is equal to 1 by cos square h x, cos h square x. 1 by cos h x means sec h x. And 1 by cos h square x is equal to sec h square x. Okay. Trigonometrically you result 1 plus tan square x is equal to secant square x. 1 plus tan square theta is equal to secant square theta. Here 1 minus tan h square x is equal to secant h square x. This is divide cos h square x. Similarly, divide both sides by sin h square x will divide here. Now sin h square x will divide here cos h square divided by sin h square, that is cot h square x. Sin h square x divided by sin h square x 1 is equal to 1 by 1 divided by 1 divided by sin h square. 1 divided by sin is equal to cosecant. And 1 divided by sin h square x means cosec h square x. Now this results in divide both sides by cos h square x, then we have 1 minus tan h square x is equal to secant h square x. Dividing both sides by sin h square x, we have cot h square x minus 1 is equal to cosecant h square x. Then what is secant h square x? 1 minus tan h square x. Then what is secant hx? Secant h square here 1 divided by dy by dx is equal to 1 divided by sec h square y. Sec h square y is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus tan h square y. Sec h square y is equal to 1 minus tan h square y. That is dy by dx is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus tan h y. Okay, tan h y is x. Then tan h square y means x square. Or derivative of tan h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus x square. Derivative of tan inverse x is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus x square. Trigonometry. Hyperbolic derivative of tan h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus x square. Okay. Then next we consider similarly the derivative of cot h inverse x. And similarly y is equal to cot h inverse x. Hyperbolic reminder, that is x is equal to cot h. Differentiating. That is the differentiating dx by dy is equal to dx by dy is derivative of cot h y. Derivative of cot h y is minus cosec h square. Okay. Then dy by dx. What is dy by dx? 1 divided by dx by dy. 1 divided by dx by dy means 1 divided by dx by dy minus cosec h square. Minus 1 divided by that is minus 1 divided by the 1 divided by the minus 1 divided by cosec h square. What is cosec h square? Cosec h square is equal to cot h square x minus 1. Cosec h square y is equal to cot h square y minus 1. Then minus 1 divided by cosec h square y cot h square y minus 1. Cot h square y cosec h square x is equal to cot h square x minus 1. Minus 1 divided by cot h square y minus 1. What is cot h y? Cot h y is equal to x. That is minus 1 divided by x square minus 1. Minus 1 divided by x square minus 1 is minus 1 divided by multiply. This minus 1 multiply. This minus outside. Minus I minus cancel. Minus outside is 1 divided by 1 minus x square. 1 divided by minus of x square minus 1. X square minus 1 minus 1 multiplied by 1 minus x square. That is derivative of tan h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus x square. If mod x less than 1. Then this value 1 divided by 1 minus x square is the positive value. Positive value mod x value less than 1 ആയിരിക്കണം. 1 ൽ നിന്ന് 1 നേക്കാൾ ചെറിയ ക്വാണ്ടിറ്റി മൈനസ്. ഇനി ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് cot h inverse is equal to എന്താണ്? -1 divided by x square minus 1 ആണ്. അല്ലേ? -1 divided by x square minus 1 ആകുമ്പോൾ 1 minus x square അകത്ത് mod x greater than 1. Mod x greater than 1 ആയാൽ 1 minus a quantity greater than 1. അതെന്താണ്? ഈ വാല്യൂ എന്തായിരിക്കും? അർത്ഥം പോസിറ്റീവ് ആയിരിക്കും. 1 divided by 1 minus x square. അഥവാ x greater than 1 ആയാൽ 1 divided by 1 minus a quantity which is less than greater than the denominator that negative ആയിരിക്കും. then negative 1 divided by x square minus 1 ആണ് ഫോമിൽ വരും. ഇത് പഠിക്കുക. ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ഓഫ് tan h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus x square if mod x less than 1. Derivative of cot h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus x square if mod x greater than 1. Okay. അന്നേരം ഇതുകൂടെ സേവ് ചെയ്യും. സേവ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് നോട്ടിലേക്ക് നേരത്തെ ബാക്കി കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. Derivative of sin h inverse x, cos h inverse x, tan h inverse x, then cot h inverse x. What is the derivative of sin h inverse x? Derivative of sin h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by root of x square plus 1. What is the derivative of cos h inverse x? 1 divided by root of 1 minus x square. Derivative of tan h inverse x is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus x square. Derivative of cot h inverse x is equal to minus 1 divided by x square minus 1, or 1 divided by 1 minus x square, where mod x greater than 1. Okay? This save here, save it, complete here.